You need to hear this truth, because most men get it wrong. When a woman tells you her problems, she isn't inviting you to be her repairman. She doesn't want a technician with tools. She doesn't want a knight charging in to save her. And she definitely doesn't want you firing off 10 clever solutions like fortune cookies. What she's really doing is something far deeper and far more important. She's testing you, testing your presence, testing your emotional strength, asking silently, can you stay steady while I'm in the storm? Can you still stand tall when I fall apart? Most men fail. They panic. They rush to fix. They interrupt with advice, trying to end the discomfort. But in that moment, she doesn't feel closer, she feels further away. Because here's the harsh truth. If you can't hold her emotions, she'll never trust you to hold her life. Think about it. Life will bring storms, work, health, money, family. Chaos comes for everyone. A woman doesn't expect you to erase it all. She just wants to know, deep down, that when her world shakes, the man beside her won't. She isn't looking for perfection. She's looking for stability. Not a fixer, but an anchor. Not someone who collapses when emotions rise, but someone who remains unshaken. That, my brother, is where attraction lives. She doesn't respect you for solving her problems. She respects you because in her chaos, you remain calm, like a mountain against the wind. If this lands, keep watching. The next part shows why pressure always reveals the truth.
Let me give it to you straight. Every time a woman brings you her problems, she's not only hoping you care, she's watching your center. She's reading your breath, your tone, your eyes. She wants to know one thing: will you crack or will you hold? Because if you fold over something small, she will assume you'll collapse when real storms hit. That isn't manipulation. It's ancient wiring. For thousands of years, choosing a partner who could endure chaos meant survival. That instinct didn't disappear just because we invented smartphones and coffee pods. Picture this. Grace walks in, shoulders tight, words spilling fast, about a boss who moved a deadline and a teammate who forgot to reply all. She's not asking you to fix the office. She's stepping into your space, your frame, to see whether it's safe to set her burden down for a minute. Ethan meets her with a heavy sigh. He glances at his phone. Why do you always bring this to me? Can't you just let it go? In that instant, he mirrors her chaos and adds a dose of dismissal. Grace doesn't think he lacks empathy. She feels, I can't lean here. Respect quietly drains out of the room. Now run the same scene again with a different man. Same late hour, same storm in her chest. But Ethan this time chooses composure. He puts the phone face down. He breathes slower than the room. He lets her finish without interruption. When her words finally thin out, he says, that sounds rough. You'll handle it. I believe in you. No panic, no lecture, no 10-point plan to fix a company he doesn't work for. And what happens? Grace exhales. Her shoulders drop because his calm becomes her anchor. That's the difference between reactivity and presence. Reactivity hears a problem and hustles to escape discomfort by fixing, preaching, or shutting it down. Presence hears the same problem and refuses to abandon the frame. Presence says with posture and breath, your storm doesn't move my center. Marcus Aurelius put it clean. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Her emotions, her boss, her deadlines, those are outside events. Your response is the only kingdom you truly govern. If you surrender that, let me ask you, have you spent time around a man who collapses under small pressure? The order's late and he snaps at the waiter. The traffic stalls and he spirals into rage. A plan changes and he sulks for days. You can feel it. His nervous system runs him, not the other way around. Women read that instantly. They're not thinking in essays. They're sensing in seconds. If he can't carry this little moment, how will he carry real life? Me, us. Here's the shift most men miss. Presence under pressure isn't apathy. It's trained strength. It's not pretending you don't care. It's proving you won't be ruled by what you can't control. It looks like a few simple habits. Simple, not easy. Breathe first. 2 slow inhales through the nose, 1 long exhale. You're telling your body, we're safe. We choose the pace here. Lower your voice. Calm tones regulate the room. If you go loud, the fire spreads. Hold eye contact, not the steering wheel. You don't have to drive her problem to a solution. You just have to park long enough for her to feel seen. Reflect, don't redirect. That sounds heavy. I can see why that stung. You're not agreeing with every detail. You're honoring the weight she's carrying. A quick story. Years ago, I mistook urgency for courage. A woman I loved would vent, and I'd sprint into action. Emails, phone calls, pep talks. I thought I was being useful. What I was really doing was escaping the heat. I couldn't stand in the fire, so I tried to put it out. She grew quieter over time. Not because I failed to solve things, but because I failed to hold things. When I finally learned to sit still, breathe, and let her words land, the relationship changed. She didn't need my heroics. She needed my center. Here's the paradox. When you try to control the storm, you add wind. When you accept the storm, you become the mountain. Mountains don't argue with weather. They don't explain themselves. They stand. Practical cue for the next time she unloads. Silently name your role. Anchor, not analyst. Let the first 30 seconds belong to her. No interruptions, no fixes. When she pauses, offer 1 calm line that validates the weight and affirms her capability. That's a lot. You've handled worse. I'm with you. Then let the silence do its job. Resist the reflex to fill it with instructions. She doesn't need you to airlift her out of the valley. She needs to feel that the valley isn't swallowing her, and your presence does that. Bottom line, if you collapse when she's emotional, she can't trust you when life really breaks. But if you stay steady again and again, you become rare. Trust grows, respect deepens, desire follows, strength that doesn't shout. If this lands, keep watching. The next part will make it practical.
Let me tell you something most men never slow down to realize. When a woman shares her struggles, she isn't just talking. She's taking a risk. She's putting something fragile, her raw self, into your hands. Vulnerability for her is like handing you a piece of glass. And the question hiding underneath is simple. Will you hold it carefully, or will you drop it? Most men, without meaning to, drop it. She opens up about her past, about pain she's carried for years, about the weight she hides from the world, and instead of holding space, he cracks a joke to lighten the air, or he brushes it aside. Don't worry, you're fine now. Or worse, he stores that confession like ammunition to fire back during an argument. Do you know what that does? It slams the door shut. She'll still smile, she'll still talk, but never again with the same depth, because deep down she's learned he can't hold me here. Picture this. Aaron is dating Lisa, who finally shares a piece of her story. How she grew up with an absent father, how the silence shaped her. She's trembling a little as she says it. And Aaron, thinking he's being upbeat, replies, "Well, at least it made you stronger, right?" He means well, but she doesn't feel stronger. She feels unseen. She feels dropped. A week later, when something else weighs on her, she doesn't bring it to him.
Not because she doesn't care, but because she's learned it's not safe. Now imagine a different Aaron. Same moment. Lisa speaks the same truth, her voice unsteady. This time, he listens without rushing in. He looks at her steadily and simply says, "That must have been heavy. I'm glad you trusted me with that." No fixing, no pep talk, just presence. And do you know what happens? Lisa exhales. The armor softens. Safety blooms because she feels, maybe for the first time, this man can hold me without flinching. That's the soil where respect and desire grow. Not solutions, not quick fixes. Safety. Here's the brutal truth. Intimacy doesn't die when passion fades. It dies when safety disappears. If she can't trust you with her truth, she won't give you her depth. She might stay, she might love you in a surface way, but the core, the loyalty, the admiration shrivels. Because intimacy isn't built on logic. It's built on whether she feels safe being fully herself. And here's where Stoicism echoes across centuries. Epictetus said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react that matters." Her confession is not the test. Your reaction is. Do you tense up, deflect, make it about you, or can you remain steady, listening without judgment, without panic, without fear? That moment, more than any words, shows her what kind of man you are. I'll be honest with you. Years ago, I failed this test. A woman I cared for told me something raw from her childhood. I panicked at the weight. Instead of holding it, I tried to steer her back to happier topics. I thought I was helping. But the look in her eyes told me everything. She didn't feel lighter. She felt alone. My mistake closed a door that never fully reopened. And it taught me something I carry to this day. Presence doesn't mean changing the moment. It means holding the moment exactly as it is. So here's the shift. When she opens up, don't rush to solve. Don't minimize it. Don't try to shine light so fast that you rob her of being heard in the dark. Just be still, breathe, meet her eyes, let her know, wordlessly, that her rawest truth doesn't scare you. Because in that moment, she's not only asking if you can handle her story, she's asking if you can handle her. And if your presence answers yes, you unlock a level of intimacy most men will never touch. Because she doesn't need a man who erases her pain. She needs a man who can sit with it, unmoved, while she finds her own strength. Bottom line, your value isn't in the solutions you throw at her. It's in the silence you hold for her. That's where trust is built. That's where respect takes root. That's where she chooses you, not once, but again and again. If this lands, keep watching. The next part shows how to master emotion without being mastered by it.
Here's another truth most men never master. A woman wants to see if you can separate your emotions from your actions. Because let's be honest, most men don't. The moment emotions rise, behavior follows blindly. She gets upset and he explodes. She raises her voice and he storms out. She vents and he fires back with his own anger. And in that instant, without realizing it, he proves something fatal. He's not in control of himself. Think about it. If you can't steady yourself in the small storms, how could she ever trust you when the big storms come? Marcus Aurelius once said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." That's discipline. That's control. It means your actions must be guided by principle,
not by a surge of emotion in the heat of the moment. Let me paint the picture. Cole comes home after a long day. His partner, Grace, is already tense from her own troubles at work. She starts venting, voice sharp, emotions high. Cole feels attacked even though it's not about him. His chest tightens, his pride spikes, and he snaps. "Why are you yelling at me? I didn't do anything wrong." Within minutes, the evening is ruined. It's no longer about her tough day, it's about their fight. Why? Because Cole let his emotions dictate his actions. Now imagine another man. Same scene. Grace vents, her voice heated, but instead of reacting, he breathes. He listens. He lets her finish. When the storm calms, he simply says, "I hear you. That sounds tough. I know you'll figure it out." That's it. No panic, no defensiveness. And what happens? Her storm loses power. His calm becomes her calm. Do you see the difference? The first man reacted. The second man responded. That's the power of separating emotion from action. Here's the brutal truth. Women don't expect you to be emotionless. They don't want a cold stone. But they do expect mastery. They want to know your feelings won't hijack you, that you won't lash out, shut down, or disappear just because the heat rises. And let's be clear, this isn't only about relationships. Life itself will test you the same way. A colleague disrespects you. Do you explode and ruin your reputation, or do you respond with dignity? Someone cuts you off in traffic. Do you chase them down or keep your peace? Even your children will test this. When they push your buttons, do you yell or guide them with calm strength? Life is always watching, and so is she. I remember early in my own journey, I failed this test too. A woman I loved was venting one night. Her tone was sharp, though the story had nothing to do with me. My pride flared. My body wanted to fight back. But then a thought hit me. If I react now, her storm becomes our storm. So I breathed. I stayed quiet. Minutes later, she softened, leaned into me, and whispered, "Thank you for letting it out." That moment changed everything. Masculinity isn't about never feeling emotion. It's about not being enslaved by it. So here's the shift. The next time you feel your blood boiling, pause. Don't let impulse steer you. Ask yourself, if it's not right, should I do it? If it's not true, should I say it? That one pause can save your peace, your respect, and your relationship. Because at the core, what she's really testing is this. Can you remain steady when emotions run high? Can you act from principle, not from impulse? That's what separates boys from men. That's what earns respect at her core. That's what makes her see you, not just as her partner, but as her anchor in a chaotic world. If this lands, keep watching. The next part reveals the difference between fixing and leading.
Here's a question every man needs to ask himself. When a woman brings you her problems, are you leading or are you just fixing? Because there's a world of difference. A fixer reacts, a leader responds, and she can feel the difference in her bones. Let's break it down. A fixer can't stand in the fire without scrambling for a way out. The moment she vents, he panics. Here's what you should do. Let me call someone. I'll fix it for you. He believes he's proving his worth, but what he's really proving is that her storm is stronger than his presence. A leader is different. A leader holds the frame. He listens. He observes. He doesn't rush to erase her discomfort. He chooses his action, if any, not from desperation, but from principle. His calm presence guides the moment instead of trying to control it.
Picture this. Aaron, 37, is dating Maya, who often vents about drama with her coworkers. Each time, Aaron rushes in. You should confront them. Here's what I'd say. Want me to call HR? He thinks he's being decisive, but to Maya, it feels like he's hijacking her life. Over time, she stops confiding in him, not because she doesn't care, but because she doesn't want another fixer. Now, imagine another man, same woman, same frustrations. He listens, steady and patient. When she's finished, he doesn't hand her 10 solutions. He simply says, "Sounds like a lot. What do you feel like doing about it?" Do you see the shift? He doesn't steal her agency. He doesn't treat her like a child. He treats her like an equal, while still being the steady presence she leans on. That's leadership. Here's the brutal truth. Women don't want to be managed. They don't want to feel like someone else is running their lives. They want a partner who stands beside them, not above them. A fixer makes her feel small. A leader makes her feel empowered. And this is where Stoicism speaks loudly. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." A good man doesn't talk endlessly about what he'll do. He doesn't scramble to solve. He embodies strength through discipline, calm, and refusing to collapse when tested. I had to learn this lesson the hard way. Years ago, I thought leadership meant taking over every problem my partner brought me. If she was stressed, I fixed it. If she was upset, I took charge. I thought I was showing strength, but what I really did was weaken her. I robbed her of the chance to stand tall in her own storms. I wasn't empowering her, I was smothering her. It wasn't until I learned to step back, listen, and guide instead of control that things changed. And when they did, something remarkable happened. She leaned into me more, not less, because she finally felt respected, not managed. So here's your shift. The next time she brings you her frustrations, stop asking, "What do I need to do?" Start asking, "How can I stand with her while she figures this out?" That's what a leader does. He doesn't carry her storm away. He doesn't collapse under it either. He simply stands steady, and by doing so, reminds her she already has the strength to face it. Because leadership in love isn't about control. It's about presence. It's about guiding the energy of the moment without stealing it. It's about showing her that her storms don't scare you, that you'll never treat her like a problem to fix, but as a partner to respect. And once you embrace this truth, you stop being just another man with quick answers. You become the man she can trust, the man she can respect, the man she will follow, not because you demanded it, but because your presence earned it. If this lands, keep watching. The next part reveals why patience is the ultimate test of masculine presence.
Let me give you another truth men rarely talk about. A woman doesn't just want to see if you can handle her emotions once. She wants to see if you can handle them again and again and again. Because here's reality, emotions repeat. Women often circle back to the same frustrations, the same stories, the same feelings. And the weak man, the impatient man, rolls his eyes and says, "You already told me this. Why do you keep repeating yourself?" He thinks he's being logical, but what she hears is, "I don't have time for your heart." And that kills connection faster than anything. Patience, my brother, isn't just a virtue. In a relationship, it's proof of your masculine presence. Let me show you. Grace, 42, often vents about her sister. She circles back to the same drama over and over. One evening, her husband Ethan loses it. "Grace, you've told me this story 100 times. I get it already." He thinks he's setting a boundary, but to her, it feels like rejection.
She learns that her emotions are too much for him. Slowly, she stops bringing him the deeper parts of her heart. Now picture a different man in the same situation. Grace vents, she repeats herself, she circles back, but this man stays calm. He breathes. He lets her pour it out. When she's done, he simply says, "That sounds heavy. I'm here with you." No judgment, no impatience, just steady presence. And do you know what happens? She softens. She feels safe. She feels lighter, not because he solved anything, but because she no longer feels alone. Here's the brutal truth. Most of what weighs her down isn't the situation itself, it's the loneliness of carrying it alone. When she repeats herself, she's not testing your memory, she's testing your patience. She's asking, can I trust this man to be patient with me, even when I'm not perfect? And if your answer, shown through presence, not promises, is yes, you reveal something rare. You prove you're not just a man who can hold storms once, but a man who can endure them for as long as they last. That's what earns respect. That's what builds unshakable trust. And that's what makes you unforgettable in her eyes. If this resonates, keep watching. The next part uncovers why sharing the burden is not the same as carrying it.
Here's a truth most men never understand. When a woman tells you her problems, she's not asking you to carry them for her. She doesn't expect you to throw her burdens on your back and solve her life. What she really wants is far simpler and far deeper. She wants to know she doesn't have to carry it all alone. There's a big difference between sharing the burden and transferring it. Miss that, and you either burn out trying to fix everything or resent her for dumping on you. But here's the reality. She's not asking you to fix it. She's asking you to stand beside her while she carries it. Let me paint you a picture. Maya, 28, often vents about her family. Every time she does, her boyfriend Aaron scrambles into action. "Okay, I'll talk to your brother. I'll call your mom. I'll straighten this out." He runs himself ragged trying to manage problems that were never his to solve. Eventually, he snaps. "Why do you always bring me your problems?" She's stunned, because in her mind, she never asked him to fix a thing. She just wanted him to listen. Now, imagine another man in the same situation. Maya vents about her family. Instead of scrabbling, he listens. He nods. He lets her pour it out. When she's finished, he simply says, "That sounds heavy. I'm here with you." That's it. No frantic plans, no taking over, just presence. And what happens? She exhales. She feels lighter, not because he carried the weight for her, but because she no longer carries it alone. This is the subtle but powerful truth. Women don't want saviors. They want partners. They don't need someone to erase their storms. They need someone strong enough to stand in the rain with them. Stoic wisdom makes this clear. Seneca once wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Most of what weighs her down isn't just the situation itself, it's the loneliness of facing it alone. When you stand steady, when you share her emotional load without seizing control, you cut that suffering in half. She feels supported, not smothered. Think about your own life. How many times have you felt lighter just because someone listened to you? Not because they solved anything, but because for a moment you weren't alone. That's exactly what she's asking for. But here's the mistake most men make. They hear her words like a to-do list. They treat her vulnerability as a request for action. They rush in to help, then wonder later why they feel drained or why she pulls back. The truth? They misunderstood from the start. The Stoic man doesn't confuse empathy with obligation. He doesn't confuse listening with fixing. He knows his role is not to carry her storms, but to be the mountain she leans on while she carries them herself.
So here's your shift. The next time she comes to you heavy with worry, don't ask yourself, what do I need to do? Instead, ask, how can I stand with her while she walks this out? Sometimes that means silence. Sometimes it means a calm hand on her shoulder. Sometimes it means nothing more than steady eye contact that says, I'm here. Because here's the bottom line. She doesn't need a man to erase every problem from her life. She needs a man who reminds her she doesn't have to face them alone. That's not weakness. That's not passivity. That's strength. That's leadership. That's presence. And once you live this truth, everything shifts. You stop being the man who burns out trying to fix her. You become the man who empowers her simply by standing steady at her side. And that, my brother, is the man she will respect, desire, and never forget. If this speaks to you, don't stop. The next part shows why leadership is presence, not control.
Here's a question that cuts right to the core. When a woman brings you her problems, do you show up as a leader or just another fixer? Because let's be real, most men default to fixing. The moment she vents, they jump in with answers. Here's what you should do. I'll take care of it. Let me call someone for you. They believe they're helping, but what they don't realize is that their rush to solve makes her feel small, like she can't handle her own life without him stepping in. That's not leadership. That's micromanagement. A leader is different. A leader doesn't scramble to erase her discomfort. A leader listens, he observes, and with calm presence he asks the question that guides instead of controls. What do you feel like doing about it? See the difference? A fixer takes over her choices. A leader gives her back her strength. Let me paint you a picture. Clara, 35, often vents to her boyfriend Owen about her co-workers. Every time she does, Owen launches into action. You should confront them. Here's what to say. Want me to call HR? He thinks he's showing initiative, but Clara feels suffocated. Over time, she stops confiding in him, not because she doesn't trust him, but because she doesn't want another fixer in her life. Now, imagine another man, same woman, same frustration. But instead of scrambling, he listens calmly. He doesn't rush to rescue her. When she's done venting, he simply says, "Sounds like you've got a lot on your plate. What do you feel like doing about it?" In that moment, she doesn't feel managed. She feels respected. Because he didn't hijack her life, he reminded her of her own power. Here's the brutal truth. Women don't want to feel like children being managed. They want to feel like queens standing beside a king. A fixer makes her feel dependent. A leader makes her feel stronger. And this isn't just about relationships. Leadership is about guiding energy without trying to dominate it. Sometimes leadership means saying nothing. Sometimes it means setting a boundary. Sometimes it means letting her walk through her storm while you stand steady beside her. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." A fixer talks endlessly about what he'll do, what he can solve, how much he wants to help. A leader doesn't talk about it. He embodies it through calm presence, through composure, through refusing to collapse when tested. I'll share something from my own journey. Years ago, I thought being a strong partner meant having all the answers. If she had a problem, I rushed to fix it. I thought I was proving my love. But over time, I saw it in her eyes. She didn't feel stronger because of me. She felt weaker. She didn't feel respected. She felt managed. That's when I realized fixing isn't love. Leadership is love. Because leadership respects her strength
instead of stealing it. So here's your shift. The next time she unloads her frustrations, pause. Don't ask, "What can I do to fix this?" Ask, "How can I stand with her while she finds her way through it?" That's the difference between a fixer and a leader. Because here's the bottom line. A woman doesn't want a man who takes over her life. She wants a man who stands beside her while she lives it. She doesn't want you to manage her choices. She wants you to respect them, while proving with your presence that no storm will shake you. And once you learn to lead this way, you stop being just another man with answers. You become the man who empowers her to grow stronger, because your calm gives her the courage to face her own storms. That's leadership. That's respect. That's what makes her see you as the man she can trust, follow, and admire for life. If that resonates, don't miss the next part. It shows why presence is the rarest gift you can give.
Let me hit you with something most men completely miss. When a woman shares her struggles, she doesn't want your solutions. She wants your presence. But here's what usually happens. A woman starts talking about her day, her boss, her stress, her worries, and the man's mind instantly turns her words into a checklist. Okay, she's stressed. I'll fix this. Step 1, give advice. Step 2, make calls. Step 3, erase the problem. He thinks he's helping, but what she feels is dismissal. Because deep down, she never asked him to fix anything. She just wanted him to be there. Presence, my brother, is the rarest gift you can give. In a world full of noise, distraction, and shallow attention, presence is power. Picture this. Grace, 32, comes home from a draining day. She starts venting about office drama and looming deadlines. Her boyfriend, Ethan, interrupts halfway. "Don't worry, I'll talk to your boss. Maybe I can help restructure things for you." He believes he's proving love, but her face drops. She goes quiet, because in her heart, she doesn't feel heard, she feels managed. Now, imagine another man, same woman, same frustration, but instead of rushing in, he leans back, breathes, and says, "Sounds like a rough day. Tell me more." Then he just listens. No half attention, no phone in his hand, no planning his reply. He listens with full presence. Steady eyes, calm body, slow breathing. And what does Grace feel? Relief, safety, connection, because she realizes, my storm doesn't shake him. I can let it out here. That's the truth. Women don't crave your solutions, they crave your presence. And the Stoics knew this centuries ago. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself." Presence is exactly that. You don't demand she be rational when she vents. You don't scold her for being emotional. You stay disciplined with yourself. You hold the line. You don't get dragged into her storm. You stay still. But let's be clear, presence is not passive. It's not just nodding like a bobblehead. Presence is active. It's in your eye contact, your posture, your breathing. It's in the way you resist the urge to do something and instead let your energy say, "I've got this. You're safe here." Think about it. When was the last time someone gave you their full attention? No phone, no distractions, just steady presence. Rare, isn't it? That's why it's powerful. Presence tells her you matter. Your words matter. Right now, nothing else is more important than this moment. I had to learn this the hard way. Years ago, I thought I was being helpful by always giving advice. A woman I cared for would open up, and before she finished, I was already in fix-it mode. Over time, she grew quieter.
She stopped sharing the deep things. I couldn't figure out why until one day she said, "You don't listen, you just try to fix me." That hit me like a punch. I realized then my value wasn't in my solutions, my value was in my presence. So here's your shift. The next time she shares her problems, don't rush. Don't turn her words into a to-do list. Instead, breathe. Look her in the eyes. Let her see through your stillness, I'm here. You don't have to carry this alone. Because here is the bottom line. Any man can throw out advice. Any man can play hero for a moment, but only a rare man can give her the one thing she craves most, presence. And once you do, she'll feel something she rarely feels in this world. Truly seen, truly safe, and deeply respected. That's not just what she wants. That's what makes her choose you again and again. If this spoke to you, keep watching. The next part reveals why her storms aren't really about the problem, but about testing your strength.
Here's a truth most men don't want to hear. Half the time, when a woman unloads her emotions, it's not really about the problem at all. It's about you. She's testing your emotional strength. Think about it. She's not always looking for answers. She's not even asking you to step in. What she's really asking, silently, is, can this man handle my storm without losing himself in it? And here's where most men fail. Sophia comes home venting about her boss, her friend, her family. Her partner, Aaron, feels attacked, even though none of it is about him. He reacts. He raises his voice. He argues. Suddenly, it's no longer her emotions, it's a fight between them. And in that moment, she sees him differently. Not as a man she can lean on, but another boy who cracks when pressure shows up. Now imagine a different man. Same Sophia, same fire in her chest. She vents, circles, raises her voice. But this man, he doesn't flinch. He doesn't mirror her chaos. He doesn't try to silence her. He just listens, calm, steady, unshaken. And when she's done, he says, "I hear you. That sounds rough, but I know you'll handle it. I believe in you." That's it. No panic, no collapse, just presence. And what happens? She exhales. She softens. His calm became her anchor. This is the test most men don't realize they're taking. Women won't announce it out loud, but they're always observing. Do you panic? Do you argue? Do you fold? Or do you stay composed? Seneca once wrote, "A man who suffers before it is necessary suffers more than is necessary." That's exactly what happens here. Her storm isn't even yours, yet most men take it on, drown in it, and make it worse. But the Stoic man doesn't. He sees her emotions for what they are, waves, temporary, passing. He lets them crash without letting him sink them. And here's the kicker. Women don't consciously think, "I'm testing him." It's instinct. It's survival. For centuries, women needed to know if a man could remain composed under pressure. If he couldn't protect the tribe. That wiring still runs deep. I've been there myself. Years ago, I failed this test. A partner of mine was venting about something small. I took it personally. I snapped back, defensive and angry. In my head, I thought I was standing up for myself. But in her eyes, I was weak. I had let her emotions hijack me. And the respect she lost in that moment took months to rebuild. That failure taught me a lesson I'll never forget. Masculinity isn't about controlling her emotions. It's about mastering your own.
So here's your shift. The next time she unloads her frustrations, don't treat it like an emergency. Don't let it hijack your nervous system. See it for what it is, a test of your presence. Slow your breathing. Keep your voice calm. Stay grounded. Let her chaos pass through you like wind through a mountain. Because here's the bottom line. If you collapse when she's emotional, she can't trust you when life's real storms arrives. But if you remain steady again and again, she'll see you as rare. She'll see you as trustworthy. She'll see you as a man she can lean on, not just in her storms, but in life itself. That's the man she respects. That's the man she chooses. And that's the man you were meant to be. If this landed, don't stop now. The conclusion ties all 9 parts into one Stoic lesson you'll never forget.
Looking back across all 9 tests, one truth stands above the rest. A woman is not searching for a fixer. She doesn't want a man who rushes in with tools, advice, and solutions. What she longs for is far deeper. She wants a mountain, steady, unshaken, immovable when the storm hits. Every time she vents, repeats herself, or reveals a painful memory, the question beneath it all is the same. Can you stay calm when I can't? That is the silent test most men never see. And that is where most stumble. They collapse under her emotions. They argue. They try to erase her storm instead of outlasting it. And in doing so, they fail the only test that truly matters. But the Stoic man knows different. He understands what Marcus Aurelius taught. You have power over your mind, not outside events. He cannot control her feelings, just as he cannot control the weather. But he can always control himself, his breath, his presence, his response. And here's the paradox. When he does, something remarkable happens. She doesn't just feel heard, she feels safe. She doesn't just respect him, she trusts him. Not because he solved her burdens, but because he stood steady while she carried them herself. That's what earns lifelong respect. That's what makes a woman lean closer again and again. Not the man who panics, not the man who argues, but the man who remains calm, patient, unshaken, no matter how wild the storm becomes. So here's your shift. Stop seeing her emotions as burdens. Start seeing them as honors. She chose you to hold her storm. Don't panic. Don't run. Just stand tall. Because that, my brother, is what separates the forgettable from the unforgettable. That is the Stoic code. And that is the man you were meant to be. If this resonated, stay tuned. Our next series will show you how to build this presence in daily life.